I did.
Hello. How are you? All right?
Yeah, not bad. God, what a lovely sight behind you there.
Must be one of your sea lots because all this yellow stuff was seaweed.
Yeah, yeah.
A fair few of those.
Well, right up the west coast. I mean, it's all just inlets.
It's gorgeous up there. Couldn't believe it. So it looks like we're sacrificing a France trip next year. I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
You can go on a ferry, can't you, over to the Inner Hebrides, like Mull and so on, and then you can do boat trips around them for the wildlife.
Yeah.
He wants to do the something express. I want to call it the Caledonian, but that's not right.
I think it's the Highland Express. It's called, isn't it?
No, it's something else. It's something.
The one that goes over the viaduct.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
But it's something to do with the around the time of when Braveheart was about. You know what I mean?
Oh, Jacobean.
That's it. That's the one, Jacobean.
Yeah.
Jacobean Express. So she wants to do that, and there's plenty to see. So
there's a particular spot where everybody goes to take a photograph of the viaduct. Yeah. It's one spot. It gives you a fabulous view of the whole viaduct, but of course, there's a particular, viewpoint, and everybody's there, so everybody gets the same photograph.
Yeah, I know. There's a visitor centre with a viewing platform, I think, but it's so busy we couldn't get in the car park. We thought, well, I'm not waiting around. It's only a flipping bridge after all. I'll do something else, but it'd be quite nice to do that another day.
Yeah.
But it's surrounded by cats today.
We've had not for a long time now, obviously, but we used to do boating holidays. And I've had a couple of holidays on Loch Ness, basically doing the whole canal, from Inverness down to Fort William and back again. You do that in a week, quite nice, comfortable week, and it's just sublime, absolutely sublime. Yeah.
It was quite a surprise because Oban itself is obviously it's a coastal town. And it's quite pretty. And then, wherever you went, it was just gorgeous. But the road had loads of landslides. Only a few days before we got there, they'd cleared them all by the time we arrived.
Yeah.
But the road to it had all these landslides and things.
Well, there's been some heavy rain. I mean, over on the east coast, that train line, Stonehaven got hit as well.
I thought Tesney was good last night.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, she was. She was a wee bit different, I thought, from the north. But,
who's this guy for next week?
Sorry?
Who's the guy next week?
Terry Pollard.
I don't know.
Hi, Andy.
Hi, guys.
Oh.
Yeah, no, Terry Pollard's in the, I think he's part of the Kidlington group, but he's a judge. He's one of the judges. He did actually judge our competition back in May or whenever it was. Remember the first one we did via Zoom? We didn't do it live. He actually, he marked them all, sent back the results, and I just read them out. Do you remember?
Oh, yes, vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which competition that was.
Go there.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it was the first one we did, and then Peter did one where he did it live. It was the one before that.
Should see what it's like. Oh, Tony. Here he comes. Hi, Tony. You all right?
Hello, guys.
Right.
Hello.
Oh, Ray. It's very impressive.
Tell you, I was up all night getting that.
I mean, I don't know how you do that with a roller.
Well, I thought if I take this magnifying glass and put it in front of my camera, that should do it. Yeah.
I wish I hadn't wasted all my money now.
There you see. It's one of the Hubble ones.
Yeah, it does take a decent picture, the old Hubble, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it should do. The money they've spent on it.
Oh, come on. I mean, it's been up there. Is it 30 years now?
Yeah, if you remember when they first put it up, it broke.
That's right.
They have had to repair it.
5 years, they couldn't do anything with it.
They had to go up and fix it because the mirror was
Yeah,
something wrong with the mirror, if you remember.
that's right. And I mean, one of the things they came up with some very cool software actually to try and correct it.
That's right.
Which is very neat.
Yeah.
Wish I was that clever.
Yeah. Here's us thinking computational photography is new.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, sweetie.
Well, at least there's 4 of us.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, there's Chris. That's 5.
All right.
I know Andy's Andy Smith is over in Greece.
He's in Greece. He might be tied up a bit when he comes back as well, with the way things are going.
I saw him the day before he left a couple of days ago, and I said that to him. I said, "It looks as though you're going to end up in a lot." And he says, "Well, it just doesn't matter anymore." Yeah.
No, I
Right.
agree.
I mean, if I went over and came back and had to stay, I mean, that's what I've been doing anyway.
Exactly.
Not much difference. That means a bit of hassle getting stuff from the shops, you know, but apart from that, it's not that.
Well, can't you send one of the staff out for that?
Well, no, my wife does that.
Well, that's what I meant.
I am the staff.
Careful.
Mind you, I'm only that brave when I'm in a room on my own. You realise that? Oh,
And Chris might be having trouble with his internet by the look of it.
who's that? Chris Trotman?
Jackson.
Oh, Chris Jackson.
Yeah, he's been joining for about 2 or 3 minutes now.
Oh, right.
I've let him in.
But it doesn't. I mean, Chris, where does he live? He lives close to you, doesn't he? Where does
He
Chris
lives
live?
near the sands.
Oh, yeah.
Down that
I'll
way.
be sure.
I think is it Woodlands, something it's called, isn't it?
All right. Woodland. Yeah, Woodland's close. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's next to the path that goes towards the co-op.
Yeah.
Oh, Gene, did you enjoy the talk last night? Can't hear you.
Oh, there's Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
A bit of trouble getting in, Chris.
Ah, yeah, I did actually.
Yeah. Dean says you've been trying for a few minutes.
Yeah, it was just said connecting and
Yeah, well,
timing,
Gene,
and I came out. And it's all right.
He's been to fetch something. Oh, she's gone.
Gene's going to try again, clearly.
Back in a minute.
Pull the lead out.
as long as when she comes back, we don't get all that.
I'll tell you what, Ray. The last we had a Zoom. I told Dean about it. We had a Zoom presentation for the Chipping Norton Astronomic Group, and I have to say, the half an hour before it kicked off was I've not laughed so much. One bloke never really got going properly. We spent all our time looking at a light fitting on his ceiling, and then then somebody rang him to try and help him put it right, but he left the phone on, so we had constant ringing going on, and everybody was then shouting at him to turn his ruddy phone off. It was just brilliant. And then somebody else had a blank screen, and somebody saying, "No, we can't see you. We can't see you." And it went on for about a couple of minutes, and eventually, reluctantly, this voice said, "I'm having me dinner." It was really good.
Goodness me. There's Gene back.
No, here we go.
Right, Gene. Still can't hear you.
You're very quiet.
Oh well, never mind. You just have to listen.
Have to use the chat facility. Gene.
Yeah, you can send us a message through chat.
You can give a constant progress report on how Ray's doing with the sort of,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
I know Dave Mills won't be on because Dave was looking forward to being on this because he's now got GigaClear broadband.
Oh, they've actually got it installed.
He's got it now, so he's got this fabulous speed. But unfortunately, he's up at the hospital again.
All right.
He's in for another angiogram, so I hope everything's okay there. That's lovely service, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wrong.
Yeah,
I'm
where's
very
mine?
impressed. Oh, blimey, it's a bottle of beer as well. I had to bring my own water with me.
I had to make my own tea before we started. Last night I sent a message to Louise to make me a cup of tea because I'd forgotten. And Tesney was going on and I was quite enjoying it. And she didn't want to. She complained bitterly. So tonight I've had to make my own before we start. Well, it'd be good to see David if he manages to join another time.
Yeah.
He's missed them all. Has he watched any of them on recording? Or
I don't know if he
No, I
has.
don't think it has.
Certainly before he upgraded his broadband, he wouldn't have been able to. His speed was just ridiculously slow. Yeah, it was almost dial-up. Yeah.
I've been down his way a few times recently, early in the morning, looking for deer, as you know, right? And there's always a Volkswagen Golf, parked kind of in a little lay-by on the way to just after turning, actually, to go towards his house. And it's always there. I wonder what that is, what they're doing.
Oh.
I heard a rumour that someone was sleeping rough in their car. I wonder if that's what it is.
Oh, right.
I don't know.
No.
What do we
All
do?
sorts of shenanigans going on. We've been. I don't know if you've seen the post in the Witchwood Post about the people complaining yet again about all the cars in Dog Kennel Lane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, apparently now it's not just the parking there during the day. He said apparently there are things going on in the evening. It's Dogging Kennel Lane.
The local dogging site, isn't it?
Oh dear.
So you've got, these people are saying things like, "Oh, we need to do this, that, and next time we need to put bollards up." And
Oh, yeah.
no, you can't do things like that. It's mad. And why people should think that, there's an automatic right for people who kind of live sort of close by can go in, but if you're kind of sort of not close by, you can't.
Yeah.
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 The Wild Garden was advertised in a couple of publications. I can't remember which ones, but it was advertised. So it's, people are beginning to find out about it from far afield. So when they're in the area, they want to have a look.
Oh, bugger. Yeah.
What's happened, Tony?
It's all right. It was a random click. I've now unrandomed it.
Fair enough.
Right, how we doing? That's probably it then. You right?
I probably.
So you're recording it anyway, so I can send it out.
If you hear any random noises, one of the cats is in season, and so they make a lot of noise. And we've just acquired 2 kittens as well. It was only supposed to be 1, but my sister came along too. So they're scampering about everywhere.
I'm
So,
glad you
you
said-
know,
I'm glad you said that, because I wouldn't want people thinking that at some point during my presentation I was making random noises.
It's good to know you've joined. It's good to know you've joined us, Dean, in having the pain of another couple of kittens. I said to Linda, I said, it's a damn good job we haven't replaced any of our furniture for a long time because it's going to be shredded shortly.
Yeah, and the curtains go through. The curtains have been attacked. And you don't want to go and buy new curtains because they'll just get destroyed.
Absolutely.
So you just put up with the old ones.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have a cat.
I don't think that's an option in our house.
We had cats for quite a long time. You know, we actually brought one with us when we moved into the house from Kent. But then we had another one that died, went out in the road, silly thing, got run over. And then we got one that, it was after it got run over. We said, that's it, no more cats. We are not having any more cats. Until one sort of sauntered up the drive one day, you know, went up to the dog, kissed it on the nose, and moved in. It's hilarious, you know, a tiny little thing, you know. And he lasted. He was 18 when he went.
All right, it's a good old age for a cat.
He was still running around like a kid. Anyway, shall we get started?
Yeah, go for it.
Right. Okay. What I thought I'd do today is do a little bit on doing panoramas and HDR type images. Now, I think we've probably touched on this sort of stuff before, but I thought it'd be useful, you know, going through Lightroom. I'm going to do Lightroom and Photoshop, you know, just to show different ways you can do it. But we'll start off with just a few you know, just an intro thing about sort of gear that you want to use and what matters and what doesn't matter and all this sort of stuff. Okay, I mean, there's nothing we want to do before that, is there? In the way of introductions, we're okay. We'll go straight into that, and then we'll just do the picture share after that.
Yeah, fine by me.
And then we can maybe talk about another outing or something.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Right, let's share my screen. Dean, you'll need to...
Oh, have I not? Oh, yeah, I haven't. Hang on. We'll do.
Let me share the screen.
Uh,
That's the default now, is it's switched off.
Yeah, I forgot to do that. Yeah, okay. You should be able to now.
That's it, yeah. Right, here we go. Right, panoramas and HDR images. Okay, so starting with panoramas then. What we'll just start with, just a little, I mean, feel free to sort of jump in and we'll have a discussion about it, because I'm by no means an expert, as I keep saying every time I do this. So if anybody knows of anything that's clearly wrong in what I'm saying, or you have another view, just chip in. So basically, yeah, the cameras that you would need to do panoramas, well, I mean, to be quite honest, just about any camera can do it. But you ideally want a camera that will let you shoot in manual mode. And I mean, you'll see later why that's important. And that's manual for both exposure and focus. And, you know, having said all that, you know, a lot of smartphones these days do panoramas, you know, without, you know, just by hitting another button, you know. So I'll go through all of this, you know, and then you find that actually you can forget it all and just get a smartphone. But we're all photographers, so we don't do things like Right, so lenses. Okay, I mean, we're kind of assuming that most of the time when you do a panorama, you're probably going to be doing some sort of scenic type thing. You know, you don't tend to do panoramas of close-ups or, you know, or it tends to be a sort of scenery type thing. And the sort of lens you want is somewhere in the range, sort of just a medium range one, somewhere between maybe 35 and 85. You see, none of these, by the way, are hard and fast rules of any kind. You know, they're just kind of recommendations that might help you get the best sort of shot. So that's 35 to 85, 35, sorry, full frame equivalent. So that'd be what, something like, well, a crop would be what, 20, 21, 22 to something like, what, 50, 55. Because if you go wide angle, if you're taking, you know, a number of shots for a panorama and you use a wide angle lens, you're going to get a lot of distortion, and it's going to make it difficult to stitch things together. So you want to steer clear of too wide an angle. And similarly, if you've got telephotos, then you kind of, well, why would you? You know, if you're taking a panorama, you know, why would you want to use a telephoto lens? It just doesn't seem right. You might as well just, you know, use your wide angle, take one shot and crop it in. So medium range for lenses then. Tripod, it is preferable to use as tripod. I mean, you don't have to use a tripod, but it is best because you ideally, to help photos, because you're taking a number of photos for this, you want them to line up. And although the software these days is very good at lining things up, you know, you can waste an awful lot of space, you know, if your pictures aren't naturally lined up. So it does help if you can use a tripod to just, so if you were, you know, taking shots in a horizontal plane, then that keeps everything lined up nicely. Cable release or remote, well, it depends on the speed, obviously, that you end up with, as to whether you really need one of those or not. But you're not looking for any kind of camera shake, obviously. So settings, again, these are ideal, but shoot RAW. If you shoot JPEG, then there's a sort of outside chance, I guess, that because the JPEG is a processed photo, that if you're taking a number of photos and each of them is going to get processed, then, I mean, the camera will by and large obviously process them all in the same way, but I don't think it's guaranteed, you know. So you might get some slight changes. I mean, most of the time you're never going to notice anyway, really, but ideally shoot RAW anyway, and that just gets rid of that. Same with the white balance. If you have white balance on auto, there is a chance it could change slightly from picture to picture. So probably best to, you know, set it in the camera and use that white balance for all your shots. Lowest ISO, well, again, this is, you know, if it's a sort of scenic type shot and you're on a tripod, you might as well have the lowest ISO you can. Aperture, you want the sort of sweet spot, because presumably you're trying to get as much as possible, you know, in focus. So something like f8 or f11 is probably about right. As it says down the bottom there, you know, if you use the hyperfocal distance, then you'll get most things in focus. And then shutter speed. I mean, what you really need to do is you take a few test shots. I mean, you're in manual. Take a few test shots, you know, to get the kind of shutter speed that you think's about right for the exposure, and then set all that manually. That all makes sense?
Yep.
It does.
Okay, taking the shots. Camera on tripod, image stabilization off. Orientation, right. Depending on the type of panel that you're taking, I mean, you could be taking a vertical panel or a horizontal panel. Normally they're horizontal, you know, letterbox type thing. And if you are doing a horizontal one, then it is best to take a number of shots in portrait mode. The reason for that is that it gives you a lot more leeway, because when you get the picture at the end of the day, when it's processed them all and you have the finished thing, you'll find there's lots of bits that have to be cropped. And you know, if you shoot a horizontal one, horizontal in landscape mode, it doesn't give you quite the same leeway. So a number of portrait shots for a horizontal panel, and then for landscape, if you're doing a vertical panel like maybe a waterfall or something like that, exactly the same reason landscape would then give you that that scope, you know, for a bit of leeway on either side. And ensure the image is level. Well, again, software is pretty good, you know, at doing these things. But if you think about it, if you know, if you're taking one photograph, you know, and it's not quite level, and then you take the next one, and maybe that is a bit level, or it's not level wrong the other way. You know, it's going to have a devil of a job lining these up. I mean, obviously, if you use a tripod, it makes things an awful lot easier because you just you know, rotate the camera on the tripod, and that should keep everything completely level. Take a series. Okay, yeah, you take a series of shots, and you want an overlap of the guideline is usually between about a quarter to a third of the photo. Again, software is very good, and you will get away with actually less than that. But the more it has, the better, you know, it's able to match up and do the snitching. Then what we'll do is we'll go through this in a minute, but I'll just finish off this. Here, right. Right, so you've taken shots and you've got a number of shots. By the way, the number of shots you take obviously is entirely up to you in terms of, you know, the composition that you want and the size of the panel. You know, where do you want it to start, where do you want it to end, and taking into account those overlaps, that'll determine how many pictures you want. Okay, so I'm assuming here we're using Lightroom. So you've imported them all into Lightroom. Now, you might want to make some initial adjustments here. I mean, you don't have to. You could wait and do the adjustments at the end once you've got your panorama and do the adjustments there. But you might feel that you want to make some basic adjustments. You know, before you put them all together. Now, the important thing here is that you do exactly the same adjustments to all the pictures, obviously. Now, what you can do there, and I'll show you this in a minute, is you just make the adjustments to one image, and then you can actually copy and paste all those adjustments to the rest of them. And as I say, we'll go into that in a minute. And then to do the panorama, it's very simple in Lightroom. Select all the images, right click, and then from the menu select photo merge, and then panorama. Okay, so what we'll do now is let's shoot over to any questions on any of that, by the way.
The only thing I'd ask Ray is not exactly is obviously I don't use Lightroom. Has anybody used Microsoft Ice for stitching pictures together?
No, I've been meaning to look at that. I've heard about it, but I've never
I mean,
tried it.
people seem to be quite positive about it, but I haven't tried it yet. So, but I'll probably give it a try after this.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. No, it's something I saw recently, and I thought, well reminded because I'd forgotten about it. But I remember when I saw it, I thought, oh, I must give that a try, because that's is that free software?
It is, Ray, as you know. It's bound to be if I mention
It must be if you're talking about it. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's. Good. I mean, the Lightroom, Photoshop, I mean, other software will do it as well. What I have done is I've had a look at the GIMP to see if that does it, and I can't see.
No, I've never found it in GIMP.
No, I can't find it in GIMP.
No. But, you know, GIMP's okay. It does what it does.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go, right, can you see that?
Yes.
Now? Yeah. Okay, so what we'll do is I'm going to take, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, these 5 here. Right, so from that one to that one, these are the ones I'm going to do. That first one was just a sort of test shot, just to get some idea of the exposure. So it's going to develop. Right, so just assume, let's see. I mean, I don't particularly need to do any processing. In fact, I've already done it. But just to show you what you would do if you want to make sure everything's processed in exactly the same way, is I mean, let's what should we do? Let's change the texture. Okay, if we just up the texture a bit and the clarity. Okay, so you'll see there's that's there. If you look at the other ones, you'll see that, you know, these haven't been changed. So what you can do is, if you right click, settings, copy settings, you will get this little dialog comes up, and you could decide exactly which settings you want to copy. You don't have to copy everything. Now I've only changed the texture clarity, but probably normally you'd want all the basic stuff and this, but there may be other things that you've changed as well. So then you just copy that, then go into 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, this is the remaining 4 photos. Right click and develop settings, paste settings. Now what that's done is that's pasted that texture and clarity into each of these photos. So that way I know that all of these photos have had exactly the same adjustments made. So let's include that first one again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, what I've highlighted the 5 photos here that that I want to stitch together. So with all 5 highlighted, right click, and then you choose Photo Merge, Panorama. Surprise, surprise. And you will get this. Now, it's just doing a little preview. Now, there are some options here. Cylindrical is the normal one. I mean, I haven't played around with the other ones, to be honest. But normally, the cylindrical one's the one you want. The auto crop just means that when it's finished, you get a proper picture rather than, you know, some wasted space. And then that's showing you, that's a preview of what it's going to look like when it's finished. So you just hit merge, and it will go through the process. And you see up here, it's creating panorama. Takes a minute or two. One thing I should say, by the way, is this stuff is quite hefty in terms of processing. You know, I mean, if you're stitching together a number of high resolution photos like this, it's taking up a lot of resources in your machine. So I'll warn you now, if I disappear at some point during this, it's because the machine's giving up. I have had problems in the past doing this sort of stuff, mainly because you do one, then you do another one, then you go into Photoshop and do something there, and all of a sudden it goes, whoa, too much, and gives up the ghost. So hopefully that won't happen. But if it does, I'll have to log back in again. Right, don't worry about that. It's okay. Right, okay, now what it's done, it's added this photo, this number 7 here. And there you go.
This is magic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not bad, is it?
No.
Pretty good.
And then, of course, you can play around with that if you like. But you now have quite a large photo there. Go away. Right. Okay, so that's how you do it in Photoshop. It's very, very simple.
Lightroom.
What you can also do now, sorry, not Photoshop, Lightroom. That's doing it all in Lightroom. Right, no Photoshop involved here. Now you do have an option of, with having selected your 5 photos, instead of doing the photo merge panorama in Lightroom, you'll see that there is an edit in, and then down here it says merge to panorama in Photoshop. So if you hit that, open Photoshop. And see, this is when things are likely to go pear-shaped, because I've just opened this now as well.
Yeah.
Now, what it's done here is that this is a function that's in Photoshop, which and you can get to this through just Photoshop itself, rather than coming in through Lightroom. You can just go in through Photoshop itself and open the same dialog, and then you just choose which photos you want. But because I've come in from Lightroom and I've already pre-selected them, it's put the 5 images there. So you want click this blend images together. You want to tick that geometric distortion correction. This distorts any, sorry, distorts any correction, corrects any distortion. Let's get that right. And then okay. Oh, this, by the way, the layout, auto tends to work most of the time. These are different ways of looking at it, but by and large, auto does work. So let's you can see what I've been playing with now, can't you? Right, now what it's doing is it brings the pictures in and as layers, separate layers. So you'll see here on the right hand side, it will gradually build them up. Well, that's 3. You can see if you've got rather a lot, it can take quite a while. Right, so now it's aligning them.
See what you mean, Ray? That's working quite hard.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you might hear some random noises.
I suspect this will straighten out that that line in the corner, isn't it?
What, the green line?
Yeah, that line was slightly curved on the Lightroom, and I suspect it'll be straight on this one, will it?
Probably not.
Or straighter, should we say?
Yeah, because it wasn't a straight line. It did actually curve, if I remember.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So what it does now is it basically creates a mask for each layer, and it masks out the bits it doesn't want. Oh,
Wow.
didn't do that last time I did this. There's a bit of banding there.
Yeah.
There's a bit, yeah.
Oh, that's not very good. That's not very good at all.
Lightroom on Photoshop now. Yeah.
Actually, no, I'll tell you what I did. I didn't, when I did it in Photoshop earlier, I did it by going in directly to Photoshop. So coming in through Lightroom has obviously made this difference. Right, let's try it the other way. Let's save those changes. So what you can do is file, automate, photo merge. Okay, and you're back to this. This is what we had before. Now, if I now browse to these, so it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're gonna have to wait again. Yeah, I wonder why that.
What will make that different then, Ray? Is it because Photoshop's importing the Lightroom settings for each individual shot? But they were made the same, weren't they? So I don't see why.
No, I really don't understand that, because I did this earlier and we're okay. Seems to be doing this quicker for some reason. Yeah, this is going much quicker than the last one did. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, I had to look into that, because I mean, think of any possible reason why that shouldn't have worked. But it seems to, you know, it's just changed well, it seems to be the different exposures, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There you are. There you go.
That's better.
Nothing wrong with that. you see, this is where you get the wasted bits around the outside. So you crop that. I mean, you don't have to crop it. You could do content aware fill, but I think that's cheating. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Another bit. Let's do a fill. Hang on. Yeah, I won't do that. Do the easy way. Oh,
Cheers.
know what I meant.
Yeah.
Let's deselect that. Right. And you see, there's. I mean, that's pretty well as the ground was actually.
Yeah, it's pretty close to a Lightroom one,
Yeah. So there you go. Now, by the way, just to see what you've got here is an image which is 16,000 pixels wide by 6,500 high. Yeah. But you know, if you're be interesting for printing, I suppose. Right, now another thing you can do, and I haven't done a vertical one, but obviously that works in exactly the same way. But what you can do as well is, let me go back to Lightroom. What you can do as well is you can do this. Let me show you these. Right, here's 4 shots where, you know, that one's next to that one, obviously, horizontally. That one's next to that one horizontally. But these are aligned sort of vertically as well. So what you could do, take 4 shots like that and create one much larger version of that, should you want a very high resolution picture. And it will actually cope with that quite well. Again, photo merge, panorama. That's what it does.
Yeah, never done that.
I did it. I wasn't sure whether it would work or not. I thought, I wonder if it does, and it does. It's just clever enough, you know, to work out. You know that's next to that one, and that one's below that one, so on.
Yeah, sometimes I'll do 2 rows. So, you know, if it's going to be quite a long panorama, it can end up really thin, can't it, on the screen?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll do 2 rows of shots, especially if I want a lot of sky in there. And it can work quite well.
And do you do it in one go?
Yeah. Handheld as well, usually, because I can't be bothered with tripods most of the time.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, I mean, the software is just so good. It copes pretty well. So I think you've got to get it pretty well. You know, you'd have to have your shots pretty out of alignment before it wouldn't cope.
Yeah, as long as you make sure they're really well overlapped,
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah. Right, this is just about done.
I did it.
There's what it's created.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very impressive.
So there you go. Something else you could play around with. All right, let's. Are we happy with that then?
Mm.
So this is just I just tell you what to do. HDR images. Okay, let's move on to that. I mean, we've done this before, and this is a lot more straightforward, I think. Not that panoramas are fairly straightforward as well, to be honest. But taking an HDR shot, I mean, what we're talking about here is where we have, you've got a shot where the range of tones is quite large, and you can't get everything in. The range of tones is just too great. So you tend to find that you've either exposed for highlights or for shadows or for somewhere in between, so something else suffers. So the idea of HDR is where you get pretty well everything, fairly at least showing up without being too dark or too light. Again, using the tripod, the thing with HDR is you're going to be, you're taking a number of images, but they're going to be stacked one on top of each other. So you really don't want them to be different. So using a tripod is probably a good idea for that. Because what you're doing here is using the bracketing function on your camera to take a number of shots. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Where was it? Right. So you want to use aperture priority because you probably want to keep a consistent depth of field. I mean, if you use shutter priority, you're likely to get differences in aperture between the shots, and then that will affect your depth of field. So it's trying to merge together different depths of field. Ideally, you want that consistent. And then the number of images you take, well, it depends on just the range of tones that are in the photo, and you might have to play around with it. But I tend to find 5 tends to work most of the time. Although you can get away with 3 if there's not too much. Sometimes you might need 7. But again, you just play around with it. And the idea is to vary the stops between the, and you can set this on your camera. Have we all got bracketing on our cameras?
Yep.
Yeah. And you all know how to use that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So, right, let's play around with that then. So I've got some photos somewhere. Where did I put them? Here we go. Okay. To be honest, took this very quickly. There's not a huge amount of difference here, but it just this just demonstrates how it's done. So these are the 5, and it is simply a case of where are photo merge, HDR. And off it goes. Very similar. Of course, you can actually do this in camera as well. With a lot of cameras, anyway. Right, so let's see what that gives us. Right, where is it? Be nice if it told you it finished. There we go. So what you'll find there is that, you know, if you just took that one shot there, it would probably take most of the sky into consideration, and these areas would be quite dark. So this is what it's giving you a tonal range there. Let's hold on. And that there. Oh no, we're in alpha was in develop. Yes, that there is my house. not as best for you, never mind. Right. Okay, I mean that's basically all I had prepared. So, and hopefully that's of some use. Okay. Oh, there's Heather. You sneaked in, Heather. Okay. Any questions?
Oh, it's good. Thanks, Ray.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah.
But what we'll do is, if we have a look at this this Microsoft Ice, you could have a look at that, Tony, and then you could do the next for us at once. How about that?
I'll think about it.
That went very quiet then, Tony.
It did, didn't it?
I am quiet.
That's unusual.
I mean, you've hardly had a peep out of me all evening. I'm not as quiet. I'm not as quiet as Jean, though.
No.
Jean's super quiet.
Do you not know what's wrong with your mic?
Oh, never mind.
Oh well, not to worry. Well, there's no need to be like that.
No, I say this. There's two of you, is there?
He might be tried, yeah.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Heather, did you get your slide copy sorted?
No, Sarita's away at the moment. She's going to lend me one, but I wanted it for negatives. But a friend of mine wanted to. She's in Scotland, so obviously she can't borrow one here. She wanted to know what she could purchase, but inexpensively, for slides.
Right, I've got a gadget that goes on the front of the camera. But it does. You need to put it up against quite a strong light, backlight. You know, it's not brilliant. It's not as good as a scanner.
No.
Yeah. But
Yes,
they are more expensive. I mean, some of them I think are quite expensive.
Yeah.
These copiers. But if you've got a lot of slides or negatives,
To be honest, I'm not sure what I have got, because I think at one point I did a clear out and I stupidly threw out a lot of negatives, which I regret now.
Well, I've still got loads of negatives, you know. It's getting around to doing
when
it.
I'm going to find time to deal with them is another matter.
I found a whole cartridge, a rotary cartridge of slides.
Yeah.
I hadn't realised were there. So that was brilliant, you know, because I started looking at it and thinking, hey, look at this, you know. But then, of course, you can't see them properly.
No, you can't.
I've
actually found, in my desk drawer here, I've found an old 35mm spool. Used to call it a spool, you know, a film.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I wonder if anywhere will develop that for me. I've no idea what's on it.
Oh, they will.
I mean, it must have been lying for years.
It doesn't matter. It's worth a try. When I remember way back in my youth, when I worked in a camera shop, somebody came in with a film and said, "Could you develop this for me?" They said it's quite old. I'm not sure, you know, whether it will come out. And I said, "Well, how old is it?" She says, "I think it was taken in 1935." We said, "Well, we'll give it a go." We put it into the processors, came back, and it was a bit spotty in places, but it worked. It was still all right. You still get photos out of it. It's worth a try.
I mean, it might be that's a load of rubbish that's on it. You know, who knows?
Pornographic. You
But
better
I'm just thinking, could have, you know, my children or something on it, you know, and I don't want to throw it away.
I guess it developed.
What kind of film is it?
One moment.
Colour or black and white? Yeah, just because I know HP do sort of black and white stuff.
Well, it's from that Max Spielman. Remember they used to have little shops, didn't they?
Right, it's one of those. Yeah.
Does it say C35 on it anywhere?
It says C41.
You're going to have to send that to somewhere like Harman Labs or something like that.
Yeah.
Because places like Boots and things can't process.
No, they won't do it.
No, I didn't think they would be able to. What does that mean, that number then?
That's the process. That's the developing process.
Right.
So that's probably a black and white film, I reckon. But you need somewhere that can actually do that C41 process.
So if I just Google it and find something.
Yeah, it'll have to go away somewhere specialist. I can't remember what the process was.
You'll find something. If not through Google, Facebook will get you something.
I guess it's worth a try. I just thought to myself, well, it probably cost me a fortune and then come back with nothing.
Right. They digitize them for you as well, so they can put it straight onto disk. But these days, they actually email you the photos.
Yeah.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
They can just email them, so you don't have to have them printed. You can just have them sent.
Transfer them.
Yeah.
I have another question actually. I put I've got these little wallets that I purchased in Vienna, and they're for keeping your SD cards. So I came across a couple that I put aside, that used ones. I put the SD card in the back of my computer yesterday, and it won't copy them across at all. It keeps saying there's errors. So what I'm having to do is, there's no errors on it. What's happening is, if I open it, I have to drag the photos across one at a time, and it's taking forever. And I don't quite know how to get round it. Any ideas, anyone?
No,
Have you got
that's,
people
that's
for your
right.
camera that links your camera to the laptop? If you've
But
got put the
I've
memory
got
card
a
in the
different
camera,
camera.
put the
I've
memory
not
card in the
no
camera.
longer got the camera that these photos were taken on.
Yeah, it might not matter. Put the memory card in whatever camera you've got, as long as it's the same kind of memory card. And then connect it and see if you can import it all at once that way.
Yeah, with cable or wirelessly.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think you're stuck with one at a time. Unless you buy.
I'm just like,
I don't know why that should be. Why should it be one at a time?
it's very, very odd, because I've got two cameras. Both of them have a wireless function. Now, I can go on holiday, take photos on either of those cameras, connect wirelessly to my phone if I want to, say, post something on Facebook, and it'll import, several photos at a time that I choose quite reasonably quickly. And this is using someone else's Wi-Fi abroad. And yet I'm sitting here in my own home with my Wi-Fi and my computer, and I put in an SD disk, and it just won't do it. Because initially I was clicking for it to, just import the lot from the disk, and it just kept stopping, and it would have saved maybe 6 photos, and then it would just stop on me. It's easier to drag them.
There were different generations of SD cards,
Yeah.
not always compatible with whatever laptop you've got. So if it's an old card, it may be that it's not working.
Could be. And I think as well, these are from way back 2012. And back then, like now, I would make sure I bought a decent SD card. But back then, I might not have. I might have just bought whatever, whatever was cheaper.
Okay. Right, shall we start showing some photos? Anybody want to show some photos? Well, you've definitely got a few, Dean.
Oh, do you want me to go first then?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, yes.
You know all your photos of Scotland, Dean? You seem to be doing a little tour. Were you staying in like B&Bs or something, or did you have a camper van or something?
No, we stayed in a hotel in Oban.
Oh, you were based in one place? Because I thought, I knew you'd booked it at the last minute, and I thought, how on earth did he manage to get lots of B&B bookings at the last minute in school holidays?
But most of it wasn't very far away at all.
Right.
It was maybe a couple of hours, but most of it was fairly close. What am I doing here? We don't want that or that, do we? Now, sometimes, it's working today. Okay. So before we went to Scotland, I was taking pictures of dragonflies. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
This is an emperor dragonfly, and I've been trying to take pictures of emperor dragonflies for years. Where do I find them? In the flipping pond down here on the edge of the village. And the good thing about that pond, it's quite a narrow space. It's not very big, so they don't go buzzing off all over the place. The problem with these is that they're really strong flyers, but they do hover, and sometimes, if you're lucky. So we've got a few pictures of them. These are fairly high ISO ones, but I think next year, or maybe tomorrow, we're going to Watmore. I might try with the flash with high speed sync, see how we go on with that. So we've got X-Wing fighter here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's a good. I like the angle on that.
This one, yeah. You just can't see the head. I quite like it, and the tail, the end of the tail is big, obviously because it's going away from us. It's out of focus, but and this one's banking to do his bombing run. So I mean, they've
You know, they've got the idea for helicopters, can't you?
Yeah.
yeah. They started off with wings, didn't they? Trying to flap them up and down. Didn't work. And this is open, so I mean, this is the harbour, but it's we literally came out of the restaurant, went across the little road, and there it was. This is the where we're staying, and it's a ferry port. So this is taken from the same spot.
Donny and McBrain, I know them well.
You've been on them, have you?
Sorry?
You've been on them, have you?
I spent a year in the Outer Hebrides.
Ah.
They managed. We moved there over Christmas, and they managed to lose virtually all of our belongings for nearly a month.
Is there any way
It's
you
amazing, really.
haven't? I was just saying, is there any way you haven't lived? You lived all over the place.
Sorry?
You lived all over.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's the military. They just send you somewhere totally inconvenient. We're in Germany, and I got posted to the Outer Hebrides. I mean, what kind of a move is that?
Sounds like a result to me.
I think it was a punishment.
It's
a lovely place.
It then, Tony?
Sorry?
You didn't like it?
No, we loved it, actually. It was just glorious. Yeah.
So that was the harbour, and then not far away, it's maybe 10 minutes down the road, there's this sea lock. Don't know what this one's called. We were going around a roundabout, and I saw this little road off to the side. So whipped all the way around the roundabout and went down this little road. And this was what was down there. You could just literally park by the side of the road, and you were on the shore of the lock.
Yeah.
It's so tranquil, isn't it? Lovely. Yeah.
You got the requisite JCB there. You know what JCB is?
No.
A Joe Cornish boulder, you mean? Do you?
Joe Cornish boulder, that's right.
When I took this, I didn't realise that we've got like little, medium, and large going on.
Yeah, it's good. That's brilliant.
I only saw that when I got back to the hotel, but yeah, right in the corner there. He's famous for it, isn't he? You might see a few of those as we get these pictures.
But it's amazing just the difference it makes to that photo.
Yeah, without it, it's a really plain, ordinary picture.
Yeah.
But with those rocks, it's a different proposition completely. Good old Joe Cornish. This is a bit further up. This is near Fort William. Another sea lock, though. And we had to do a bit of a clamber to get to this point. But it's just so everywhere. You sort of drive around and everywhere you want to stop every 5 minutes. Have a look around. This is in what's it called? Ben, the one that goes from Ben Nevis across.
No idea.
Glencoe. That's it.
Ankle.
Right, yeah.
And just as you get to
A camping trip there.
there's a little road off to the left. And there was a bridge that I never actually took a picture of in the end. A pretty little bridge, but I couldn't find it. I could see it from the main road, but I couldn't find it when I turned off. But this was one side of the road. There's a single track road, it was, just off the main road. That was one side of the road. And that was the other side of the road. And the main road's just behind this hill.
That's pretty, isn't it?
Yeah. This was everywhere, this stuff. It's so nice.
Heather.
Yeah. There's a different kind of composition of it. I don't think that one's very good, actually. But and then the main road goes across there. And through that pass it goes. It's quite an amazing drive. If you're ever up there, it's fairly jaw-dropping, the scenery.
To be quite bleak.
Yeah, I bet. No, we were quite lucky with the weather, actually. There were quite a few people in some of the parking places and things taking pictures, but it wasn't as busy as I thought it was going to be. The lay-by was full, so I just literally parked where I shouldn't and wound the window down and took that and then this panorama.
Oh, right.
I'm not sure I got the composition right. I think maybe I should have gone to the left a bit, but
The bit on the right seems a bit cut off, doesn't it?
yeah, it could do with stopping there and going further this way, the left, couldn't it? But I haven't got that shot. I have looked for it, and it's not there.
Yeah.
But I was in a hurry. I was parked in a terrible position. And a bit further along that road, there's this lake with all the mountains behind, and they've got these mounds with all this purple heather in the lake. You see one there. There's another one
We
here.
don't have lakes in Scotland.
No.
I'm not sure this is big enough to qualify as a lock, to be honest. But you can see what they're like now, these little... it was just gorgeous up there. Some more Joe Cornish boulders. And Louise wanted to go... She wanted to go somewhere the next day. And it was kind of in the same place. It was a bit further on. We were looking for this beach with silver sand that we never actually went to in the end. So I said, can we go back through that pass that we went through a couple of days ago? And this is earlier in the morning. So this is about 9 a.m. now. And a couple of days later, you can see it's a lot stiller. You've got the reflections here and different cloud structures. It was just so pretty. And that time in the morning, there wasn't anybody there apart from us. I don't know what this castle is. It's private, so you can't get to it, and you can't get down to this piece of ground either, because that's also private. But we came over a crest in the hill and saw this, and just kind of parked the car and ran across to a gap in the hedge. But it's like something out of Braveheart, isn't it? This is Loch Orr, AWE. So this is really close to Oban. It's maybe 10, 15 minutes away. And this is the reason we decided to go there in the end. We found a picture of this castle on a day when it was a dead calm. And so you've got a picture, you've got reflections of both the mountains and the castle in the lake, or the loch if you prefer. And we had this dappled light going across. It's quite nice. This castle's called Kilchurn Castle. And of course I've got my obligatory Joe Cornish rocks down the front here. And it's really easy to get to. There's a main road that goes along the side of the loch. And there's a massive, great big lay-by, and you just cross the road, go over a stile, and it's about 100 metres down a path, basically. And you're on the lake opposite the loch, opposite the castle. It's really, really nice. See the sort of things we're going to. And then I was waiting for patches of light. They'd come across the hillside, and I was hoping that they'd go on the castle, and they'd just go round the corner. It's happened 3 or 4 times. Stood there for about 15 minutes waiting for this, and then it got really warm on my back, and this light came across, hit me, and then went across the lake, and for a few seconds it was on the castle itself.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I really like this shot.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's one of the new additions. Look at her sleeping away. There they are, both of them.
Oh, very pretty, aren't they?
Yeah. This one is a menace. She's really naughty. And this one's she's going to be a bit of a flat cat, I think. Look. Okay. So there you go. That's it.
Very nice.
Very good. Anybody else?
Braden hot. Not been anywhere.
Not very much. show you what I've got. Somewhere.
Oh.
Let's put it on. Just show you on here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just saw him. He was moseying along, you know, just outside in the garden. Nothing spectacular. I don't know what kind of moth would that be, do you reckon?
I have no idea.
How big was
Tempted to say tiger moth, but probably not.
no idea.
No. Oh, I recognise that's a flower ray.
Well done, Tony. Full marks to you.
Thanks very much.
Yes, what that is an agapanthus that we brought back from Madeira as a bulb, and we've got two like that growing. Fantastic, absolutely fabulous looking plants.
Yeah, lovely colours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to Madeira and they're everywhere. You know, they grow on the hillsides and everything. They're wild. But you know, we've tried it before to bring back plants, and they've not been very successful. But for some reason this year, you know, they've come out and they're fabulous. I'm not sure what that was originally. Yeah. You can see I've not gone very far afield here.
You're not alone in that, Ray.
No,
Mm.
I'm getting a bit fed up with this though. These are all just out of the garden. Now, do you know
Actually,
what that is?
that is nice looking flower, isn't it? What is it?
It's no, what is it you call it? They call it
We've got one, and I can't remember what it's called.
it's something like Japanese honeysuckle or something.
All right.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got quite a few in the garden. They grow very quickly and very easily. I think they might even be deemed as you know, well, not quite weeds, but
Now, we had one come up through the crack in the patio.
yeah.
I like that sort of plant.
Yeah.
You know. No.
And that's not that well in focus, to be honest. We've got loads and loads and loads of these again this year, but that's why I want your press.
Yeah. I shall bring that on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, I've already had about a litre of apple juice, you know, and it's just, you know, when you freshly pressed juice straight out the fridge is just fantastic.
Yeah.
So those earlies then, Ray, because they're obviously ripe now, are they?
Well, they are.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what variety it is, but you know,
Oh,
we
they look
get
nice.
showing every single year. We get, you know, good showing of apples. I mean, the trouble is, you know, I end up eating apple crumble, apple pie, you know, apple sauce. Apple
It's not
everything.
that bad.
Yeah, tart tatter.
I seem to drop out there. I've probably missed half of these.
Well, you're lucky.
My screen froze and then it just conked out.
Hollyhock.
Yeah, good old hollyhocks.
And one that I've played around with. That's just out the garden. Just
That's lovely.
getting
Yeah, it
getting
is.
rid of the background, you know.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Okay, there you go.
And
Well, I mean, you got some, Chris? Okay, you go ahead.
I've got a few to show you. If I've done this for a while. Oh, no, it's up here, isn't it? Oh, where's my share screen?
Green button down the bottom.
It's down the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Come on. Mhm.
You want to minimise that.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I've done virtually nothing this past month. We went on a short holiday with daughter's family and grandchildren to Bude. And I got very little opportunity to do anything at all. But we went to an otter farm,
Oh, nice.
an otter sanctuary. And these were fantastic creatures. But that's about it. They were all in an enclosure, but it's a sanctuary near Launceston, and it's got this area. They do falconry. They've got a variety of different birds. They've got quite a large enclosure with these otters, and then outside of the local area, they've got some woodland, and there are deer in the woodland. They're fallow deer, I think they are, and where are the little kangaroos? Well, wallabies. We've got wallabies free, running around free, and they're reasonably tame. But the only thing I really felt is after I had some lens autofocus problems. It was incompatible lens basically. So I got quite a lot of pictures that were just not in focus. But just running through the otters, I got a few which I think were all right. This was feeding time and I was around the wrong side of the enclosure.
I don't know. I think that's rather nice, actually.
It's not bad, is it? It's not really bad.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I cropped it well in because basically along the top of that wall there were just crowds of people, all failing to socially distance. That was after feeding.
Well, these guys aren't socially distancing very much, are they?
No, they're not. They were just they just hadn't a clue. That's not a panorama. I just cropped it in. There was a lot of rubbish there. And then a lot of them scattered and took their food with them, and some of them got quite close.
Good.
Piece of fish there.
Mm.
And that was quite good. I got very few, if any, that looked directly at me. They're just not aware of people around them, unless, of course, you had a piece of fish in your hand. That was quite a nice one, I thought.
That's good.
Yeah. And this one, they look quite.
That's quite natural, actually.
Yeah, they look quite young. Yeah. Yeah. That was about it. And just a few, which I may have shown before, just a couple of pictures from the garden. This is my daughter's garden, and the poppy and the metal dog. That I think I've shown before, actually, after I put it in the set.
Clematis.
That's a clematis, yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure what that was. I turned some of our front lawn into a wild flower meadow. Well, it attempted to, and it was reasonably successful because we had a variety of different different flowers in there, and only one came up, but there were heaps of them, and this was just one of them. They're beautiful little things, and I don't know what they are. I'm going to put some more in anyway this year. That's it. No, that's it. I think that's your lot. I'll try and do better next month.
That's nice, that.
But that was, I don't think, just little flowers. I got heaps of pictures of those. But I had some difficulty getting the focus, when you're trying to do close up or macro on flowers, and focus very often. I just found it completely in the wrong place. But that one wasn't too bad, I guess. Anyway, that's it. That's your lot.
I mean, I've got a few if you want to see them.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think you'll get too excited. Screen, hang on. It's screen, isn't it? I shall share. Come on then. And share. Oh,
Just minimise that.
Really.
minimize it. Where is that then?
Top
Oh,
left.
here.
Top right, I mean.
That's it.
There we are. Okay. You can see that, can you?
Yeah.
All right. I'll go through these. It won't take long. That's known as a
B.
bee on a sort of flower. And believe it or not, it rained occasionally.
Right, that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
I do.
Yeah, I quite like that. It's sort of just the way the water was on it. It was sort of
Yeah.
pleased me at the time.
Yeah.
That's another. I was into bees at the time. I've got an awful lot of bees, but you're not going to see them. Don't worry. That's the only other bee. They were very busy. It's lavender. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it.
That one was a bit better. My focus was a bit better on that one, to be honest. That's a fig, an unripe fig. And believe it or not, it rained.
Yeah.
But I quite like the way the water just seems to coat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite unusual.
I didn't know you could grow figs here.
Well, actually, judging by our performance, you can't, Heather.
Well, we've got a good showing of figs. We've got a fig tree, and it's doing well this year.
Well, we've got lots of figs, but they've all come too late. They're not going to come to anything,
No.
which is
But they
quite
only
frustrating.
grew in hot countries.
Well, they sort of come from the Middle East, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, apparently in somewhere like Morocco, they get 2 crops a year, but I'm at the moment managing to get no crops a year.
Mm.
But you live in hope. I played around a little bit here. This is moonrise only a couple of days ago, but it wasn't. I don't know. I was quite dissatisfied. I couldn't really
Quite
get the sort of thing.
interesting, though.
So that and yeah, that's.
I just find every single shot the moon takes obviously exactly the same.
I was trying to get the house in it, but it didn't want to do it. I've got a lot of. I mean, I'll just show you these because you can see. I go on about astrophotography, and I'll just show these because some pictures of kit. If you're interested in that sort of thing,
Definitely.
Yes.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
That's an 8-inch scope, and that's the one. Any pictures I've taken up to now have all been on this one.
No.
The camera goes on the back, and you can put you also piggyback a camera on top of it as well. So, but I've been spending money, and now I've got this thing, which,
Wow.
believe it or not, is another telescope. My wife winced, but this is it in its normal visual mode. So that's the thing you spot with, and then you look through this. So that's using it just to look at the sky. This is in its second mode. This is a planetary camera, and basically it takes high-speed videos, and it gets rid of by you sort of take about 3,000 frames very quickly,
Yeah.
and you can then use freebie software to analyze them and pick out the very best ones without the shimmering in them and stick those together to get a clear image. So that's a planetary camera. Obviously, these things get connected up to a computer. There's a lot of software. And that's it in its deep sky mode. So there, that camera now is auto-guiding. It looks at a star and tracks it. So this thing tracks absolutely accurately. And that's known as a deep sky camera because it's got a much larger sensor and it's also cooled. So it cools the sensor down to about -20 degrees so that you reduce the noise on it.
Yeah.
So there you go. And eventually, if we get a clear sky, I'm going to try and take a picture with this lot. And I'm finished now. I'll stop boring you.
All right.
Very good. Anybody else?
No, Fred, no.
No, been no way, unfortunately.
Jane? No? Well, I
No.
guess that's it then. Do we want to think about an outing of some sort, or?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed our field trip the other time, I have to say. That's the sort of thing I gravitate towards. But
yeah.
Well, it would have to be something like that. We've got to find something that's with plenty of space. You know?
Got any ideas, anybody?
well, I don't know. I mean, presumably everybody's been to the Wildwood umpteen times. I don't know if that's going to be a place to go.
Well, I'll go
It's
through it
convenient.
Well, there's that many people in there now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
We could always do an early morning one, of course.
I'll meet you there at 5 a.m.
Yeah, no, I said early morning. I didn't say middle of the night. I don't know. What we got? We've got we're in Whitney's. We went to wildlife now this month. We could always do a Cotswold. Well, we've got the Birdland, haven't we? For Whitney.
With Whitney, on Saturday.
We could always do a Cotswold wildlife now that the schools are back.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should we do that?
Why not?
Yeah.
There's plenty of space there. We could spread out.
You might have, I don't know, it's a bit big to be timed tickets, isn't it? I wouldn't have thought it'd be timed.
I don't think so, but you know, I think you do have to book them though, don't you?
I'm sure I bet you have to book. Have we got for a day? A day of the week? Anybody got any preferences?
Yeah, Monday or a Friday for me.
Monday or a Friday is best.
Work the other three.
Mondays are usually quite good because no one else is about, These places are at their quietest on Mondays. So, should I try for a Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll have a look and see what the score is then.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. And thanks very much, Ray. That was a good talk.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So who's it next time? Dean? Is it back to you?
Isn't it Chris?
Be me.
Or it's Tony with his Microsoft Ice.
Well, it might be a very short presentation.
What about that one? Yes,
I'll see if I can take 3 pictures to stitch together first.
Yeah, the routine is probably me. I've got 1 or 2 ideas, but I'll continue thinking about that.
Okay, cool.
All right, good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're off, are we?
Okay.
Goodbye. Lovely to see you all.
And you.
All right. Well, I'll see some of you on Saturday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Yes.